Hey wrestling fans, this is Rick from rickswrestlingblog.com. Hey listen, I want to talk a little bit about some storylines that have been going on in WWE lately, or I should say more of lack of creativity with the storylines. We see too many storylines just either being cut short or not carrying enough. There's just one main storyline, maybe two, possibly a third. Hey, I like this whole corporation thing that Triple H and Stephanie are working on. This is really good. The only thing is that it seems like they're almost spreading it a little bit too much. So they had not only the Shield involved, but Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and now of course the Big Show. They started getting involved with so many of the other wrestlers at one time, the tag teams, like primetime players and some of the other singles wrestlers. And the thing is, it seems like it's being spread out a little too thin. It's almost like they're trying to carry the entire thing and just pull and bring all these wrestlers into, which not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but it can also be very way too much cumbersome, and then all of a sudden this corporation thing is kind of worthless. It's just not doing what it should have done. And so I like the idea, but I think you just need to build the other storylines. Okay, let's look at some of these wrestlers I have here. So for example, John Cena just came back. Became the world champion. Awesome. I like that because all of a sudden you gave that title more credibility. The way it used to be back in the day, that used to be the title. I mean, everybody wanted that title and everybody held it. The top players held that title. But in the last few years, it's been more of a mid-card type title. Now, don't get me wrong. Del Rio, I don't consider he's not mid-card, okay? I like Del Rio. He makes an awesome bad guy. Much better bad guy than a good guy. So I'm glad that he's still a bad guy. But what are they going to do with him now? Because I don't think he's going to beat John Cena here coming up in Survivor Series. But what are you going to do with him after that? I mean, are you just going to throw him into regular matches? Do you have a storyline? Is he going to go after someone else? Is he going to be... we need to build something on him, because I don't see John Cena just losing the title. Otherwise, what are you going to do with John Cena? Are you going to let him lose the title and have him go after Randy Orton? Okay, doable, since they now took Daniel Bryan out of the picture with the title. So it looks like Daniel Bryan's not going to get his title match. Maybe they'll decide to hold that off for a little bit and reintroduce him back at WrestleMania and give him the title at that point. But seeing that they've been a little disappointed with some of the buy rates on pay-per-views, I don't see that happening anytime soon. They put Daniel Bryan with CM Punk to wrestle together against the Wyatt family. I think that was a great move. Number one, because you just now elevated the Wyatt family to the main event status, which I think is a really good move. But let's see what's going to happen here, because there's 3 Wyatts and 2, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. Are they going to introduce a third person? Are they going to put somebody in there? And if you are, who's it going to be? Are you going to put someone that's, mid-card like The Miz, for example? Wouldn't be too excited about seeing that. But, hey, Miz is another character. His storylines need to be built up. And honestly, in my opinion, he needs to turn heel again, because he was doing much better as a heel. Not doing anything as good guy. Let's look at Dolph Ziggler. I like Dolph. The guy can wrestle. The guy is an awesome performer. He knows how to make other guys especially look good. The only thing is, what are they doing with him? Maybe he upset somebody in the office because they're not doing nothing with him. First, he was going to win the world title when he was holding the Money in the Bank. He won that title. He didn't get to defend it. He got a concussion. But when he first defended it, he lost the title. I thought maybe they'd give it back to him, but it looks like they just decided, nah, I'm going a different direction. Well, I can't say I agree with that, do you? So anyway, Shield, awesome. But it kind of looks like they're going to be splitting up soon. Have you noticed how Dean Ambrose seems to step in there, and Rollins and Reigns kind of like look at each other, kind of like, what's going on here kind of thing, Nothing's happened except for the look, and it's happened twice that I've noticed already, though. So what's happening? Are they going to actually split them up? That's what looks like what's going to happen right now. Okay, I expect them to take Roman Reigns, actually, and probably put him towards the main event status. We'll see what happens there. But I think the Shield is going to be splitting. Maybe they'll split on good terms, which is my hope. Because usually when the WWE decides to split people, they don't do as well. And what ends up happening, they turn them into mid-carders or jobbers, and they become nothing. 3MB is a good example of that. I mean, some of these guys were at least mid-card, good level, but right now they're all jobbers. So, Lesnar is expected to come back, I believe, for one more match, and I believe they're saving that for WrestleMania. And Sheamus is out, but he should be coming back early next year, and so there's some good potential with building up some stuff there. The Undertaker, I believe, is coming back for WrestleMania, but of course he's got to pass his physical to make sure that's true. Ryback, what's going on with Ryback now? It was a great idea that they put him with Paul Heyman, but if you notice, he hasn't won a match with Paul Heyman. Well, Curtis Axel's the same thing. What are they doing with Curtis Axel? Curtis Axel has downgraded the Intercontinental title. He only beats people like R-Truth, people like Kofi Kingston, who, by the way, give them the match of his life, which makes him look bad as a champion. So what? Are they going to then give the title now maybe to Big E Langston? Or will Dean Ambrose lose the title to Big E Langston because they're giving Langston a push? And Langston's been looking pretty good lately, and the people have been reacting to him. I think this guy's, a nice powerhouse to have. So, and I could see down the line, maybe at a WrestleMania, a Langston, Mark Henry kind of matchup for power, something like that. So, we'll see what happens there. But, the storylines, there's so much potential to build on storylines. But what is the creative team doing at WWE? I mean, it just seems like they either don't have enough people or they're only focusing on certain people and letting everybody else just be the filler. Well, that's what affects your pay-per-view buys. It makes me not want to buy the pay-per-view. Yeah, there's 1, 2, maybe 3 good matches that I'd like to watch, but that isn't always enough to get me to pay $50, $55 for a pay-per-view every single month. Yes, I'm going to buy the WrestleMania. Yes, I'm going to buy the SummerSlam, the Survivor Series. There's certain pay-per-views I need to buy. It doesn't really even matter what that card really looks like. I'll still buy them. But all the other ones are subject to buying. So, hey, subject to a card. That's got to be a good card. I want to see more than 1 or 2 main events. I want to see a nice filled line. So let's see what the WWE says or starts to do, especially building up. Now it's the end of the year. They're going to start building towards WrestleMania. And I'm expecting a good WrestleMania. I hope so. But here's the thing. On my website, I'm building my own storylines. So these are my ideas that I've got, to build up at least these mid-carders to try to put them at a point where it's a match we want to see. Hopefully at these pay-per-views, they can start getting some ideas that'll start building up everybody instead of just focusing on 2 or 3 people. And now you're focusing on everybody. Okay, I don't know. Do you only have one person in creative? So, hey. Anyway, keep an eye on my wrestling blog. Keep an eye on my website. We're going to be looking at these storylines and building up wrestlers and, having our own fantasy wrestling. All right? All right, take care. See ya.